What would happen if each day you made a small, positive change? Just one manageable step toward becoming the person you truly want to be. This question isn't just hypothetical, it's the foundation of lasting growth and transformation. Positive Path is all about empowering you to harness the power of daily habits to build a life that aligns with your goals and values. Each chapter of this book is a step along this journey, offering practical strategies, relatable examples, and simple exercises to help you make meaningful changes. One habit at a time. This isn't a quick fix, but a sustainable path forward, one designed to feel approachable and encouraging, no matter where you're starting from. By embracing these habits, you'll find that real growth doesn't come from grand gestures, but from consistent, purposeful actions. Let this book be your guide to making progress that sticks, with the positive energy to support every step along your journey. Chapter 1. Starting Small: The Power of Tiny Changes. Imagine if every big success or transformation didn't start with a massive leap, but a single, almost unnoticeable step. The truth is, real growth often begins with small, deliberate actions, tiny changes that compound over time into something powerful. In this first chapter, we're diving into the idea that positive change doesn't have to be overwhelming or dramatic. In fact, the most lasting change often begins with small, manageable actions you can take right now, no matter where you are on your journey. These small steps are the foundation of progress, and they carry the potential to transform your life when practiced consistently. Why do tiny changes matter so much? Think about it like this. Habits are like seeds. When you plant a seed, it doesn't immediately become a tree. It takes time, sunlight, water, and nurturing. But eventually, that small seed grows roots, shoots up through the soil, and, if tended carefully, becomes a towering tree. In the same way, the small positive actions you take today, whether it's drinking a glass of water each morning, writing down 3 things you're grateful for, or setting aside 5 minutes for quiet reflection, are the seeds of larger transformations. Over time, these tiny actions become rooted in your life, gradually shaping your habits, mindset, and ultimately the person you become. One powerful example of starting small comes from a friend who wanted to become more active. Initially, the idea of working out for an hour every day felt impossible. She'd tried and failed at similar resolutions in the past. This time, however, she committed to a simple change. She decided to walk for just 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes seemed almost too easy, but that was the point. Because it felt so achievable, she kept going, showing up each day and building a rhythm. Soon, 5 minutes became 10, then 15. After a few months, she was jogging for half an hour each morning without any pressure or stress. What had once felt impossible grew naturally from that small, manageable beginning. She realized that she didn't need to commit to an intense routine right away. She simply needed to take the first step, which made each subsequent step easier. Starting small applies not only to physical habits, but also to mental and emotional ones. Let's say you want to be more mindful and less reactive. Perhaps your initial goal is to meditate for an hour a day. That can feel daunting, especially if you're new to mindfulness. Instead, consider setting aside just 1 minute each morning to focus on your breath. That 1 minute may seem insignificant, but it's a powerful starting point. As you commit to this daily, you'll find that your ability to focus grows, and you naturally begin to increase the time spent in quiet reflection. Over weeks or months, this practice can evolve, becoming a source of calm and balance in your life. The journey toward mindfulness, or any other positive change, doesn't have to start with a grand gesture. It can begin with something as simple as a single, purposeful breath. Small changes can also apply to personal relationships. Imagine wanting to strengthen a friendship or reconnect with a family member. A grand gesture might be tempting, but sometimes the smallest actions, like a quick message to check in, a sincere compliment, or even a shared laugh, can deepen connections over time. These moments may feel ordinary, but when repeated consistently, they form the foundation of stronger relationships. Relationships like habits grow and flourish through steady attention and care, not just occasional big gestures. So why do tiny changes work so well? First, they're less intimidating, making it easier to commit to them without feeling overwhelmed. A 5-minute walk, a 1-minute breathing exercise, or a single positive message to a friend takes very little effort, but it's enough to begin creating momentum. Secondly, small actions are sustainable. Grand resolutions often fizzle out because they're difficult to maintain, but tiny changes fit seamlessly into daily life. They also lead to a sense of accomplishment, no matter how small the action is. This feeling of success builds confidence, which encourages you to keep going. Small victories lay the groundwork for bigger changes, creating a cycle of positive reinforcement. As you begin this journey, remember that progress doesn't require perfection. Some days may feel easier than others, and that's okay. What matters is showing up for yourself, no matter how small the step may seem. Each time you choose to follow through, you're sending yourself a message that your growth and well-being are worth the effort. Over time, these tiny steps turn into a powerful habit, one that not only strengthens your daily life, but also reshapes your long-term path. To apply this concept in your own life, consider one small action you could start today that aligns with a larger goal or value. Ask yourself, what tiny step can I take right now that will help me move in the direction I want to go? Start with something that feels almost too easy. Maybe it's taking a few minutes to reflect on what you're grateful for, or setting an intention for the day. Whatever you choose, make it simple enough that you can do it every day without feeling burdened. These small steps may seem modest at first, but they're the foundation upon which your positive path will grow. Chapter 2: Consistency Counts, Building Daily Habits. If you've ever tried to build a new habit, you might know how challenging it can be to stick with it day after day. Starting something is one thing, but keeping it going requires a special ingredient: consistency. Consistency is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. This chapter explores why consistent effort is crucial for habit formation and growth, and how even the smallest daily actions can create meaningful change over time. Why is consistency so important? Imagine you're learning to play an instrument like the guitar. Practicing once for a few hours may give you a good start, but if you don't pick up the guitar again for a week or more, your fingers lose the feel, and you may even forget what you've learned. Now, imagine practicing for just 10 minutes each day. This daily practice builds muscle memory, strengthens your skills, and keeps the learning process fresh. Those 10 minutes might seem small, but over time, they add up to real progress. Consistency isn't about doing something perfectly or for long stretches. It's about showing up regularly, building familiarity and momentum each day. This is true for any new habit, whether it's learning an instrument, adopting a new fitness routine, or even developing a positive mindset. Consider another example: a friend who decided to improve his physical fitness. At first, he set a goal to work out for an hour every day, but after a few exhausting sessions, he started skipping workouts. The commitment felt too overwhelming, so he made a change. He would exercise for just 15 minutes each morning. 15 minutes felt doable, and soon it became a daily routine. Because it was so manageable, he stayed consistent, and over time, he noticed an improvement in his energy levels, endurance, and overall health. By committing to a realistic, consistent effort, he was able to turn exercise into a habit that lasted. The key wasn't the length of his workouts, but the consistency with which he did them. Consistency also builds trust with ourselves. Each time we follow through on a commitment, no matter how small, we reinforce our ability to stay dedicated. This trust is vital when building any new habit or skill. If we constantly start and stop, we may begin to doubt our ability to follow through. But by showing up consistently, we prove to ourselves that we are capable, which in turn fuels further growth. Imagine the impact of consistently writing one page each day if you wanted to write a book, or taking a few minutes each day to read and learn something new. Each small act reinforces that you are someone who commits to your goals. It's natural to have days when you don't feel like keeping up with a habit. Motivation can be unpredictable. But this is where consistency comes to the rescue. On days when motivation is low, rely on the routine you've built. This is why starting small, as discussed in the previous chapter, is so effective. It makes the commitment easier to maintain even on tough days. Let's say you're trying to meditate daily, but some mornings you wake up feeling rushed or stressed. Instead of skipping it altogether, you could adjust to just a minute or two of breathing, keeping the habit alive. Consistency doesn't mean doing the maximum every day. It means doing something, even if it's just a little bit, to keep the momentum going. Another way to ensure consistency is by tying your new habit to an existing routine. This approach, called habit stacking, makes it easier to remember and complete the habit. For instance, if you want to drink more water each day, you could place a glass of water by your bed and drink it as soon as you wake up. Or, if you're trying to read more, you could put a book on your pillow as a reminder to read before sleeping. By attaching the new habit to something you already do regularly, you create a natural trigger that helps reinforce the behavior. Habit stacking can be a powerful way to build consistency because it becomes part of your established routine rather than something separate. Of course, life will sometimes disrupt even the best routines. Unexpected events, busy schedules, or even our own energy levels can get in the way. In these situations, the goal is not to strive for perfection, but to aim for persistence. When a day doesn't go as planned, let it be an opportunity to practice self-compassion rather than frustration. Instead of focusing on the missed habit, remind yourself of all the days you did show up, and commit to starting again the next day. Consistency is not about never missing a day. It's about creating a pattern of regular effort over time. The beauty of habits is that they are resilient. A single missed day won't erase the progress you've made if you're committed to returning to the practice. As you consider building consistency in your own life, start with one habit that matters to you. It could be as simple as taking a few deep breaths each morning, jotting down a goal for the day, or spending 5 minutes stretching. Whatever it is, make it achievable, something you can do daily without stress. The idea is to focus on the act of showing up, rather than the outcome. Each time you complete this small action, you reinforce a pattern of consistency that builds trust, confidence, and eventually results. To help you apply this concept, ask yourself, what small action can I commit to doing consistently every day, even when motivation is low? Consider setting a reminder or pairing this new habit with an existing routine. Remember, consistency doesn't require perfection. It's about making the decision to show up day after day because you're investing in yourself. With each small, consistent action, you're taking another step along your positive path, strengthening the habits that will support you as you grow. Chapter 3. Mindset Shift: Transforming Thoughts into Actions. Every change we make in life begins with a single thought, a spark of possibility that inspires us to move in a new direction. But thoughts alone don't lead to progress. It's the actions we take based on those thoughts that truly make a difference. This chapter is about the powerful connection between what we think and what we do, and how shifting our mindset can help transform intentions into real, impactful actions. By embracing a growth-oriented mindset, we create a foundation for positive change that is sustainable and fulfilling. Our mindset is essentially the filter through which we see the world. It shapes our beliefs about what's possible, what we're capable of, and how we respond to challenges. People who have a growth mindset, for instance, believe that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. In contrast, a fixed mindset tends to see abilities as static, something you either have or don't. This difference is crucial because if we believe we can improve through effort, we're much more likely to try new things, take on challenges, and learn from setbacks. Shifting our mindset from fixed to growth-oriented opens up a world of possibility and resilience, making it easier to turn ideas into actions that lead to progress. Consider someone who wants to learn a new skill, like public speaking. With a fixed mindset, they might believe that they're simply not good at speaking in front of others and that they never will be. This belief creates a barrier to improvement. They may avoid opportunities to practice and miss out on growth. However, if they adopt a growth mindset, they recognize that while public speaking may be difficult, it's something they can improve with practice. This shift in mindset encourages them to take small, manageable actions like joining a public speaking group or practicing speeches in front of friends. Each attempt, even if imperfect, builds their confidence and skill over time. The key difference lies not in talent, but in the belief that they can improve, which drives them to act. A growth mindset also changes the way we view challenges and setbacks. People with a growth mindset see obstacles as learning opportunities rather than reasons to quit. Imagine someone who's trying to get into better shape but hits a setback, like an injury or a busy schedule. With a fixed mindset, they might see these challenges as signs that they're not meant to be fit and give up on their goal. However, with a growth mindset, they see these obstacles as temporary and solvable. Maybe they adjust their workout routine to allow for recovery, or they find shorter workouts that fit their schedule. Instead of giving up, they adapt and keep moving forward. This resilience is what turns intentions into actions, even in the face of difficulties. The process of shifting our mindset often begins with self-awareness. We can start by paying attention to our inner dialogue, how we talk to ourselves about our abilities, goals, and setbacks. If you notice thoughts like, "I'm just not good at this," or "I'll never be able to do it," that's a sign of a fixed mindset at play. To shift toward a growth mindset, try rephrasing these thoughts to focus on learning and improvement. Instead of, "I'm not good at this," think, "I'm learning how to do this, and I'll improve with practice." This small change in self-talk may seem minor, but it has a profound impact on how we approach challenges and take action toward our goals. A helpful technique for nurturing a growth mindset is to set process-oriented goals rather than outcome-oriented ones. For instance, instead of focusing solely on achieving a certain result, like losing 10 pounds or writing a novel, focus on the daily actions that will get you there, like going for a walk every day or writing for 20 minutes each morning. By concentrating on the process, you put your energy into the actions within your control rather than worrying about results. This shift not only makes the journey more enjoyable, but also encourages consistency, as you're celebrating each step forward rather than waiting for a distant outcome. A process-oriented mindset helps reinforce the idea that every action, no matter how small, contributes to your growth. Take the example of someone learning a new language. Instead of aiming to become fluent immediately, they focus on practicing a little each day, maybe learning 5 new words or practicing a conversation. Over time, this daily effort builds their vocabulary and confidence, gradually bringing them closer to fluency. By setting process-oriented goals, they're free to enjoy each small victory along the way, which keeps them motivated and consistent. To put this mindset shift into practice, start by identifying an area in your life where you'd like to grow. Reflect on the thoughts you have about this area. Are they growth-oriented, encouraging you to take action, learn, and improve? Or do they lean toward a fixed mindset, creating doubt or hesitation? If you notice limiting beliefs, challenge them by focusing on what you can learn or how you can improve through effort. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, see them as chances to grow stronger and more resilient. As you work to develop a growth mindset, remember that it's a journey. Shifting your mindset won't happen overnight, and that's okay. Each time you choose to reframe a negative thought, embrace a challenge, or focus on the process, you're reinforcing a new way of thinking. Over time, this mindset will become a natural part of how you approach life, empowering you to turn intentions into actions with confidence and resilience. To help bring this concept into your life, take a moment to reflect on a goal you're currently working toward. Ask yourself, how can I approach this goal with a growth mindset, focusing on learning and progress rather than perfection? Think about one small action you can take today that aligns with this perspective. Remember, transforming thoughts into actions begins with believing in your ability to grow and improve, one step at a time. With a growth-oriented mindset, there's no limit to what you can achieve on your positive path. Chapter 4. Intentional Actions. Aligning Habits with Goals. Picture this. You have a list of goals you're passionate about achieving, but somehow your daily actions don't always seem to lead you toward those goals. The reality is that we often have dreams and ambitions, but without intentional action, we may find ourselves spinning in circles instead of moving forward. This chapter is about the importance of aligning our habits with our goals, taking purposeful steps each day that bring us closer to the life we want to create. When we act with intention, each small effort becomes part of a bigger picture, paving the way to real progress and fulfillment. Intentional actions mean doing things on purpose, with a clear sense of why they matter. It's not just about filling our day with tasks, but ensuring that the things we do are directly connected to what we want to achieve. Imagine someone who has a goal of becoming healthier. If their daily choices don't support this goal, like eating mindlessly or neglecting exercise, it's unlikely they'll see the progress they want. However, by aligning their actions with their goal, such as preparing balanced meals and scheduling regular activity, they start making real strides toward their vision of health. Intentional actions provide direction and purpose, turning ideas into tangible steps that lead to meaningful outcomes. An example of aligning actions with goals comes from a friend who set out to write a book. She had dreamed of this project for years, but struggled to find the time and focus to make it happen. Finally, she realized that she needed to prioritize writing in her daily routine if she ever wanted to reach her goal. She decided to set aside 30 minutes each morning solely for writing. By committing to this intentional practice, she gradually made progress. Some days, she would only write a paragraph, while other days flowed more easily. Over time, her small, consistent actions added up, and she eventually completed her manuscript. The key wasn't a sudden burst of productivity, but a steady commitment to actions that aligned directly with her goal. Intentional actions also help us avoid distractions that can pull us away from our goals. In today's world, it's easy to get sidetracked by constant notifications, social media, or tasks that feel urgent, but don't truly contribute to our larger vision. By acting with intention, we learn to recognize and prioritize what truly matters. For instance, let's say you're working toward a career advancement, and you know that building certain skills will help you get there. Instead of getting lost in daily distractions, you might choose to set aside time for learning and professional development. You could take a course, read industry articles, or practice specific skills. These actions may seem small in the moment, but each one is a purposeful step toward your career goal. By choosing where to focus your energy, you ensure that your actions are in service of your bigger aspirations. One of the challenges many people face is making time for intentional actions in a busy schedule. Life often feels full of obligations, from work to family to errands. However, aligning your actions with your goals doesn't require massive changes or hours of time each day. Even small actions can be highly effective if they are done consistently and with purpose. For example, if your goal is to be more mindful, you could start by setting aside just 5 minutes each day to pause and reflect. Whether it's a short breathing exercise, a journal entry, or a moment of quiet, this intentional habit can bring more clarity and calm into your life. Over time, you'll find that these moments add up, helping you cultivate a greater sense of mindfulness. Another benefit of acting with intention is that it brings a sense of fulfillment. When our actions align with our values and goals, we feel more engaged and motivated. Each step forward, no matter how small, becomes a meaningful achievement. Take, for example, a person who values creativity and wants to express it more in their life. If they make time each week to work on a creative project, whether painting, writing, or even cooking, they're not just completing a task. They're honoring something they care about. This sense of purpose infuses their actions with joy, turning ordinary activities into fulfilling experiences. By focusing on intentional actions, we connect with what matters most, making our daily lives richer and more rewarding. As you work to align your habits with your goals, it's helpful to take time for reflection. Regularly asking yourself why you're doing something and how it connects to your goals can help keep you on track. Let's say you're aiming to improve your financial well-being. Each time you make a purchase, you might ask yourself if it aligns with your financial goals. This doesn't mean denying yourself enjoyment. Rather, it's about making choices that support your aspirations. Over time, these intentional decisions build habits that lead to greater financial stability and confidence. It's also important to revisit your goals regularly, as they may evolve. Life is dynamic, and our priorities can shift. Intentional actions require flexibility, allowing you to adapt as needed. Perhaps you started with a goal of improving your physical fitness, but as you progress, you discover a new passion for hiking. Now, instead of general exercise, you begin focusing your activities around hiking trails and outdoor adventures. By being open to changes and realigning your actions, you stay true to your goals while adapting to your evolving interests and values. To put this concept into practice, take a moment to identify one goal that's important to you. Ask yourself, what small, intentional actions can I take today to move closer to this goal? Choose something that feels manageable and purposeful. It could be as simple as setting aside 10 minutes for focused work, starting a gratitude journal, or planning a healthy meal. Whatever you decide, remember that the power lies in the intention behind the action. Each purposeful step is a way of building the life you envision, one action at a time. With intentionality as your guide, you'll find that each day brings you closer to your goals, creating a path that is both meaningful and fulfilling. Chapter 5. Building Momentum, Turning Effort into Ease. Imagine pushing a heavy rock up a hill. At first, every inch forward is challenging, and it takes all your energy just to keep it moving. But eventually, as you approach the top, the momentum begins to work in your favor. With each step, the rock becomes easier to push until finally, it starts rolling on its own. This is the essence of momentum, and when it comes to building new habits, momentum is what transforms initial effort into something that feels almost effortless. In this chapter, we'll explore how to build and maintain momentum in your daily habits so that over time they become a natural and enjoyable part of your life. Momentum is created when consistent, intentional actions build upon each other, gradually making the process feel easier and more natural. In the early stages of a habit, everything feels new, and it may require significant effort to stay committed. However, with each repeated action, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with that habit. Eventually, what once felt challenging becomes automatic. Think of momentum as the reward for your early efforts. It's the point when your new habit becomes a seamless part of your daily life, requiring less conscious effort and becoming more integrated into your routine. Consider the story of a colleague who wanted to make reading a regular part of his life. Initially, he struggled to find the time, and sitting down to read felt like a chore, but he committed to reading just one page every day. As the days went by, he started to find pleasure in those few minutes of focused reading, and it soon became easier to read a bit more. Within a month, he was reading several chapters each day without even thinking about it. By creating momentum with a simple daily commitment, he transformed reading from a challenging goal into a natural part of his life. The key was starting small and building gradually, allowing the momentum to carry him forward as he became more comfortable with the habit. Momentum is not only about building positive habits, but also about overcoming obstacles. There will inevitably be days when motivation is low or when life's demands make it difficult to keep up with a new routine. This is where momentum plays a vital role. It helps you maintain your habits even when external motivation fades. Once you've developed a rhythm, it becomes easier to follow through because you've established a pattern that feels familiar and manageable. Let's say you've started a habit of exercising each morning. After a few weeks, even on days when you're less motivated, you'll find it easier to get moving because you've built a foundation of consistency. You might not feel like doing a full workout, but the momentum you've created makes it easier to do something, whether it's a quick walk or some stretching. This momentum keeps the habit alive, even during challenging times. Creating momentum also involves celebrating small wins along the way. Recognizing progress, no matter how small, reinforces the habit and makes it enjoyable. Take the example of someone who's trying to save money. At first, setting aside even a small amount each week may feel insignificant, but over time, these small deposits accumulate into something meaningful. By celebrating each milestone, such as reaching the first $100 saved, they create a positive association with the habit, which fuels their motivation to keep going. Celebrations don't have to be elaborate. Simply acknowledging the progress can be enough to build confidence and excitement, reinforcing the habit and maintaining momentum. Another way to build momentum is to make the habit as enjoyable as possible. When we associate positive feelings with a habit, it becomes easier to stick with it. For example, if you're trying to develop a habit of healthy eating, consider exploring new recipes or trying different foods to keep things interesting. One friend of mine decided to eat more vegetables, but she found the process boring at first. So she made it a fun challenge, experimenting with different ingredients and flavors. She even started a small garden to grow her own herbs, which made her meals more exciting and fulfilling. By turning the habit into something enjoyable, she created momentum that kept her committed to healthy eating, and eventually, it became a natural part of her lifestyle. It's also helpful to pair new habits with existing routines to create what's known as habit stacking. By attaching a new habit to an established one, you make it easier to stay consistent, which builds momentum faster. Let's say you want to practice gratitude each day. You might decide to link this habit to your morning coffee routine, taking a few minutes each morning to reflect on things you're grateful for while sipping your coffee. The existing routine acts as a trigger for the new habit, and over time, the two become intertwined. This makes it easier to keep the habit going, creating a sense of flow and making it feel like a natural part of your day. Building momentum isn't just about individual habits, it's also about the positive impact they have on other areas of life. When you make progress in one area, it often spills over into others, creating a positive snowball effect. For instance, if you develop a habit of regular exercise, you may notice that you have more energy, which in turn makes it easier to focus on work or engage in social activities. This boost in energy can lead to improvements in multiple areas, reinforcing your motivation to keep going. Momentum creates a ripple effect, where one positive change leads to another, strengthening your overall sense of well-being. To help build momentum, remember that the key is to start with small, manageable steps and stay consistent. It's easy to want to dive in with a big commitment, but sustainable momentum is built gradually. As each small step becomes easier, you can add more or increase the effort. This gradual progression allows you to build a habit that lasts, rather than burning out from doing too much too soon. Think of momentum as a friend that grows stronger with time. The more you invest in it, the more it supports you. As you consider ways to build momentum in your own life, reflect on one small habit that you would like to make a regular part of your routine. Ask yourself, what small step can I take today that will help me build momentum toward my goal? Remember, the journey begins with that first push, that first small action. Embrace each step as a victory, and let the momentum guide you forward. With each day, your habit will require less effort and more ease, bringing you closer to your goals in a way that feels natural and sustainable. Chapter 6: Overcoming Obstacles. Handling Setbacks with Grace. No matter how motivated or committed we are, life has a way of presenting unexpected challenges. Sometimes, despite our best intentions, things don't go as planned. Perhaps an illness disrupts our exercise routine, a heavy workload interferes with our goals, or life's responsibilities make it difficult to stay on track. In this chapter, we'll explore how to overcome these obstacles with resilience and grace so that setbacks become stepping stones instead of roadblocks. By learning to navigate challenges, we can continue moving forward even when the path isn't perfectly smooth. One of the first steps in handling setbacks is to recognize that they're a natural part of any journey. It's easy to feel discouraged when we stumble, but setbacks are not signs of failure. They're opportunities for growth. Think of a setback as a lesson in disguise, offering insight into areas where you may need to adjust your approach. For example, imagine someone who's committed to learning a new skill, like cooking. In the beginning, they might face several failed attempts, a dish that didn't turn out as expected, or a recipe that seemed too complex. However, each setback is an opportunity to learn something new, whether it's adjusting the seasoning, using different ingredients, or refining cooking techniques. With each attempt, they gain experience and become more skilled. In the same way, our setbacks, whether big or small, offer valuable lessons that bring us closer to our goals. Another way to approach setbacks is to practice flexibility. Sometimes, the plans we set are too rigid, and life's unexpected turns can throw us off course. Flexibility means adapting to changing circumstances, rather than abandoning our goals. Let's say you're working toward a fitness goal, but an injury prevents you from doing your usual exercises. Instead of giving up, flexibility allows you to explore other options, perhaps focusing on upper body exercises or stretching routines while your injury heals. By adjusting your approach rather than quitting altogether, you remain committed to your goals, even if the path looks different from what you initially planned. Flexibility is a skill that helps us stay resilient and adaptable, allowing us to continue progressing in the face of challenges. A personal story that illustrates this concept is that of a friend who aimed to save money for a big purchase. She had a clear plan, but halfway through the year, an unexpected expense disrupted her savings goal. Instead of feeling defeated, she reassessed her finances and adjusted her plan. She looked for small ways to cut back, like preparing meals at home and limiting non-essential spending. Over time, she found herself back on track, reaching her goal, even if it took a bit longer than expected. Her setback didn't derail her, it simply required a different approach. By staying flexible and open to adjustments, she was able to keep moving forward. Mindset also plays a significant role in overcoming obstacles. When we approach challenges with a positive, solution-focused mindset, we're more likely to find ways to navigate them. If, on the other hand, we see obstacles as insurmountable, we may be tempted to give up altogether. A powerful way to cultivate this resilient mindset is by reframing setbacks as part of the journey rather than as failures. Take the example of a musician learning to play a challenging piece. Every time they struggle with a difficult section, they have two choices. They can feel frustrated and view it as a sign that they're not talented enough, or they can see it as an opportunity to practice and improve. By reframing their struggle as a step toward mastery, they're more likely to keep practicing, turning each challenge into a building block for success. Another important tool for handling setbacks is self-compassion. Often, when we face challenges, we're hard on ourselves, feeling like we should have done better or should have avoided the setback altogether. This self-criticism can make it harder to bounce back. Practicing self-compassion means treating ourselves with the same kindness we'd offer a friend. If a friend told you about a setback, you'd likely offer words of encouragement and remind them of their strengths. You'd reassure them that this is just a small bump on the road. By offering yourself the same compassion, you're able to approach setbacks with a sense of patience and forgiveness, making it easier to regain momentum. Take, for instance, someone who's trying to build a habit of writing daily. They miss a few days and start feeling frustrated, thinking that they've ruined their progress. However, by approaching the situation with self-compassion, they remind themselves that missing a few days doesn't erase the effort they've already put in. They forgive themselves, acknowledge that life sometimes gets in the way, and commit to starting again. Self-compassion keeps them from giving up entirely, allowing them to move forward without the weight of self-judgment. One practical approach to overcoming obstacles is to create a backup plan. A backup plan offers alternatives so that even when things don't go perfectly, you have options to keep progressing. If your goal is to exercise regularly, but you know that a busy week is coming up, consider planning shorter workouts or at-home exercises instead of a full gym session. If you're trying to eat healthier but have a hectic schedule, you might prepare a few healthy meals in advance. Backup plans reduce the impact of setbacks by giving you manageable options that keep you connected to your goals, even when circumstances are less than ideal. Lastly, remember that setbacks are temporary. They may slow down progress, but they don't have to stop it altogether. Just as a detour on a road trip may take you off the main path for a while, it doesn't mean you won't reach your destination. When you view setbacks as temporary, you're more likely to bounce back and keep moving forward. By focusing on the bigger picture, you can see that each setback is just one part of the journey, and your overall progress is still within reach. To help you apply this concept, take a moment to think about a recent setback you faced or a challenge that's currently in your way. Ask yourself, how can I respond to this setback with flexibility, resilience, and self-compassion? Consider one small adjustment you could make to your approach, or a backup plan that could help you stay on track. Remember, obstacles are not barriers but stepping stones. Each challenge you overcome strengthens your ability to navigate future ones, making you even more resilient on your positive path. Embrace setbacks as opportunities to grow and let each one remind you that you have the power to continue moving forward, no matter what. Chapter 7. Refining the Routine. Evolving Habits as You Grow. As we continue on any journey of growth, it's important to remember that habits aren't meant to be rigid or unchanging. Instead, they're like plants, rooted in a foundation, but constantly adapting, growing, and sometimes needing a bit of pruning. This chapter is about the process of refining our routines, recognizing that habits may need to evolve over time to continue serving us effectively. By staying open to adjustments, we make room for growth and ensure that our routines remain aligned with our goals and values. One of the reasons refining our habits is so essential is because our needs, priorities, and goals naturally shift over time. A routine that suited us perfectly a year ago may no longer fit as well today. For example, imagine someone who started a morning routine of journaling and meditating for 10 minutes each day. This routine served them well, helping them feel grounded and clear-headed. But as their life became busier, they found it increasingly difficult to fit the entire practice into their mornings. Instead of abandoning the routine altogether, they adapted by shortening their meditation and focusing their journaling on just a few key reflections. By refining the routine, they kept the essence of the practice while making it more manageable for their current life. Refining a routine also allows us to make our habits more effective over time. When we first establish a habit, we're often focused on consistency, aiming to build the habit without worrying too much about its structure. But once the habit is in place, we can evaluate its effectiveness and make tweaks as needed. For example, if someone establishes a habit of reading every evening but realizes that they often feel too tired at night to focus, they might decide to move their reading time to the morning or during lunch breaks. Small adjustments like these can make habits more enjoyable and sustainable, allowing them to support our goals more effectively. An example of this comes from a friend who decided to exercise regularly to improve his health. He started with a routine of running every morning, which he enjoyed at first. But after several months, he began to feel uninspired and noticed that his motivation was waning. Instead of forcing himself to keep the same routine, he experimented with different forms of exercise, like cycling, strength training, and even dance classes. By exploring new options, he discovered a love for variety, which kept his motivation high and allowed him to stay committed to his fitness goals. By refining his routine, he transformed exercise from a chore into something he looked forward to each day. Another benefit of evolving habits is that it allows us to align them with new goals or values. As we grow, our goals often shift, and our routines should reflect these changes. For instance, someone who once focused on productivity might realize that they now want to prioritize self-care and relaxation. In response, they might refine their evening routine by replacing some productivity-focused tasks with activities like reading, stretching, or spending quality time with family. This adjustment doesn't mean they're abandoning productivity. It simply reflects a shift in priorities. By staying flexible, they create a routine that supports their current needs and goals, rather than clinging to past habits that no longer feel relevant. Refining habits can also help prevent burnout. When we follow a routine that no longer feels fulfilling, it can become a source of stress instead of motivation. Let's say someone has established a daily goal of writing 500 words, aiming to complete a personal project. At first, the goal felt inspiring, but over time, the pressure to meet this daily word count started to drain their creativity. They felt burnt out and began to dread the writing process. Recognizing this, they decided to adjust their goal, focusing on writing for a set amount of time each day rather than aiming for a specific word count. This change allowed them to approach writing with more freedom and enjoyment, which ultimately reignited their passion for the project. By adjusting their habit, they avoided burnout and rekindled their motivation. Sometimes, refining a routine means experimenting with entirely new approaches. When a habit feels stale, it's helpful to explore creative ways to keep it fresh. One example could be someone who's trying to eat healthier. After months of following a meal plan, they might start to feel restricted or bored with their meals. To keep their habit of healthy eating engaging, they could experiment with new recipes, cuisines, or even try cooking classes to expand their skills. This approach turns the habit into an enjoyable experience, keeping it sustainable while aligning it with their goals. By keeping their habits fresh and flexible, they're more likely to maintain them over the long term. To make refining routines a natural part of your life, set aside time periodically to evaluate your habits. Reflect on what's working, what feels challenging, and how your routines align with your current goals. For example, at the start of each month, you might take a few minutes to assess your routines, considering any adjustments you'd like to make. By making regular adjustments, you can keep your habits aligned with your evolving needs and goals. To help you apply this concept, think about a habit you currently have. Ask yourself, is this habit still serving me effectively, or would a small change make it even better? Consider one small adjustment you could make to refine this habit so that it feels more fulfilling and aligns better with your current priorities. Remember, refining a routine is not about changing for the sake of change, but about making your habits work for you. By being open to evolution, you ensure that your routines support your journey toward growth in the most meaningful way possible. With each adjustment, you're creating a life that reflects who you are and who you aspire to become. Chapter 8. Mindful Practice. Staying present in the process. In a world that often celebrates speed and multitasking, the idea of slowing down and being fully present can feel unfamiliar, even challenging. But staying present is one of the most powerful ways to make our habits more meaningful and enjoyable. Mindful practice. Bringing our full attention to each moment enriches the experience of building habits and allows us to truly connect with our goals. This chapter explores how practicing mindfulness within our routines can deepen our satisfaction and bring a new level of calm and focus to our daily lives. Mindfulness, at its core, is the art of being fully engaged in the present moment, without judgment. It's about noticing what's happening around and within us, whether it's the taste of our morning coffee, the rhythm of our breathing, or the sound of birds outside. When we approach our habits with this level of presence, they become more than just tasks to complete. They become moments of intentional living. Imagine taking a few minutes each day to enjoy a quiet walk, not just as exercise, but as a chance to tune into your surroundings, the crunch of leaves underfoot, the warmth of the sun, or the cool breeze. This shift from simply doing to being can make even the simplest routines feel fulfilling and grounding. Consider someone who has developed a habit of drinking a glass of water every morning to stay hydrated. At first, it might feel like a small task, something they do quickly, without much thought. But if they approach it mindfully, it becomes an experience in itself. They might notice the coolness of the water, the sensation as it refreshes them, and the sense of gratitude for taking care of their body. This simple shift in awareness transforms an ordinary habit into a moment of self-care. By bringing mindfulness to each habit, we're reminded of the purpose behind our actions, which reinforces our commitment and makes the habit feel more meaningful. Mindful practice is particularly helpful when building new habits. In the early stages of forming a habit, it's easy to feel impatient, wanting results immediately. For instance, someone trying to develop a habit of journaling might feel frustrated if it doesn't lead to instant clarity or creativity. But by approaching journaling with a mindful attitude, allowing themselves to simply write without judgment or expectation, they open the door to a more fulfilling practice. Instead of focusing solely on the outcome, they begin to appreciate the act of writing itself, the flow of thoughts onto paper, and the peace that comes from self-expression. Mindfulness helps us stay connected to the process, rather than getting lost in the desire for quick results. Another example of mindful practice is in the context of physical exercise. Many people start a workout routine with specific goals, like losing weight or gaining strength, which can sometimes overshadow the enjoyment of the activity itself. Someone might push through each workout, focused solely on the numbers or the end result. But if they approach exercise mindfully, they become attuned to their body's movements, the rhythm of their breath, and the feeling of energy as they move. This awareness not only makes the workout more enjoyable, but also fosters a deeper connection to the body. When exercise is experienced mindfully, it becomes more than just a means to an end. It becomes a practice of self-care and presence. Mindful practice also helps us manage stress and anxiety. When we're constantly thinking about the past or future, we miss the peace and clarity of the present moment. Imagine someone with a busy schedule who is always thinking ahead to the next task, rarely pausing to be fully present. This constant forward thinking can lead to a sense of overwhelm, but by incorporating mindfulness into their routine, such as taking a few minutes to breathe deeply before starting a task, they create a moment of calm amidst the busyness. This simple practice helps them approach each task with greater focus and patience, reducing stress and increasing productivity. To bring mindfulness into your habits, start by noticing your thoughts and feelings as you go through each routine. Take a moment to pause and breathe, tuning into the sensations, sounds, and emotions that arise. If you're cooking, for example, notice the colors and textures of the ingredients, the aroma as they cook, and the anticipation of the meal. If you're practicing gratitude, focus on each thought, allowing yourself to feel genuinely appreciative. This practice doesn't require extra time. It's simply about being fully engaged in what you're already doing. Over time, mindfulness will become a natural part of your habits, enhancing your experience of each one. Another benefit of mindful practice is that it encourages us to be gentle with ourselves. Habits are rarely built perfectly, and there will be days when things don't go as planned. Mindfulness allows us to approach these moments without judgment, recognizing that each day is an opportunity to begin again. Let's say you miss a day of meditation or skip a workout. Instead of feeling frustrated, you can use mindfulness to observe your feelings, acknowledge them, and return to your routine with kindness. This perspective helps us stay consistent without the burden of guilt or self-criticism, making the process of building habits more compassionate and sustainable. Mindful practice can also create a stronger sense of gratitude. When we're fully present, we become more aware of the small joys in each habit. Whether it's the first sip of coffee, a few moments of quiet reflection, or the feeling of accomplishment after completing a task. This gratitude reinforces our commitment and helps us appreciate the journey as much as the destination. Over time, mindfulness and gratitude together create a positive cycle, where each habit strengthens our sense of well-being and fulfillment. To begin incorporating mindfulness into your habits, choose one routine where you can practice being fully present. Ask yourself, how can I bring more awareness and enjoyment to this habit? Start small, perhaps by noticing your breath or taking a few seconds to appreciate the purpose behind the action. Remember, mindfulness is not about perfection. It's about making each moment count. With mindful practice, your habits become more than just tasks to complete. They become opportunities for growth, peace, and connection. Embrace this presence and let it enrich each step of your journey. Chapter 9. Positive Accountability. Finding motivation in others. When pursuing personal growth, we often think of accountability as something we owe only to ourselves. However, bringing others into our journey can be a powerful source of motivation and support. Positive accountability, sharing your goals with others and inviting their encouragement, creates a sense of commitment that can reinforce your habits and make the path to growth more enjoyable. In this chapter, we'll explore how positive accountability can enhance our efforts and keep us inspired, making each step forward a little easier. Positive accountability involves creating a support system of people who believe in your goals and genuinely want to see you succeed. Unlike pressure-based accountability, where you might feel judged or pushed, positive accountability is about mutual support and encouragement. Imagine a friend who wants to start running regularly. At first, she sets out to run alone, but finds it difficult to stay motivated. Then, she joins a local running group, where she meets others with similar goals. The shared experience of running together and celebrating each other's progress makes it easier for her to stay consistent. Knowing that her friends are cheering her on and looking forward to seeing her each week gives her an extra boost of motivation. Positive accountability can take many forms. For some, it's joining a group or community centered around a shared goal. For others, it's simply having a friend or family member who checks in regularly to offer encouragement. For example, someone who wants to read more books might join a book club, where the shared discussions and reading schedules keep them engaged and inspired. Or, if someone is working on a fitness goal, they might team up with a friend for regular workouts. The presence of a supportive partner or group doesn't just help with consistency. It also makes the journey more enjoyable as you celebrate each other's milestones and share the ups and downs. Another example of positive accountability comes from a coworker who set a goal to improve her skills in a new software program. To keep herself on track, she teamed up with another colleague who had a similar goal. Each week they practiced together, shared tips, and encouraged each other to try new features. What began as a professional goal turned into a rewarding friendship, and the mutual support helped them both make faster progress than they would have on their own. The positive accountability between them made learning feel less like a chore and more like an exciting challenge they faced together. Accountability partners don't always have to share the exact same goal. Often, simply sharing your intentions with someone who is supportive can make a big difference. Let's say you're working on a goal to practice mindfulness each day. You could share your goal with a friend, even if they're working on something entirely different, like a new fitness routine. By checking in with each other and sharing your experiences, you each create a sense of accountability that keeps you motivated. Sometimes, just knowing that someone is interested in your progress makes it easier to stay committed, even when challenges arise. One of the reasons positive accountability is so effective is because it turns personal goals into shared experiences. When we're working on something alone, it's easy to become discouraged if we don't see immediate results. But with the encouragement of others, we're reminded that progress is still being made, and setbacks don't feel as daunting. For example, someone trying to eat healthier might feel discouraged if they have a setback or indulge in less nutritious food. However, if they're part of a supportive community that celebrates small wins and shares tips, they're more likely to feel encouraged to keep going rather than giving up. Positive accountability fosters a sense of belonging, turning personal growth into a shared journey. Another benefit of positive accountability is that it helps us stay focused on our goals. When we regularly check in with others, we're reminded of our intentions and the steps we need to take. Imagine someone who wants to build a daily writing habit. At first, they might struggle to make time each day, feeling distracted by other responsibilities. But by sharing their goal with a friend or mentor who regularly checks in, they stay focused and remember why the habit matters to them. The gentle reminders and encouragement from their accountability partner keep them on track, even when life gets busy. Creating a positive accountability system doesn't have to be complicated. You can start by identifying one or two people who are supportive and interested in your goals. This could be a friend, family member, or coworker, anyone who genuinely wants to see you succeed. Share your goals with them and discuss how you might support each other, whether it's through regular check-ins, shared activities, or simply celebrating each other's progress. The goal is to create a positive, encouraging environment where both of you feel inspired to keep moving forward. It's also helpful to establish a routine for accountability. Maybe you agree to check in once a week, or share a message whenever you reach a milestone. For example, if you're working on a creative project, you might send your accountability partner updates every Friday. This routine provides structure without feeling restrictive, helping you stay focused while allowing room for flexibility. Regular check-ins also give you a chance to reflect on your progress, celebrate successes, and adjust your approach as needed. Positive accountability can even come from online communities or groups focused on similar goals. Today, there are countless platforms and forums where people come together to share their journeys, whether it's fitness, writing, mindfulness, or any other area of growth. These communities offer a space to connect with others, ask questions, share experiences, and find encouragement. For someone who might not have an accountability partner nearby, online communities provide a valuable source of support that can keep them motivated and engaged. If you're ready to bring positive accountability into your life, start by considering one goal that matters to you. Ask yourself, who could I invite to join me on this journey, and how could we support each other? Remember, the goal of accountability is not to add pressure, but to create a supportive environment where you feel encouraged to keep going. By inviting others into your journey, you're building a network of motivation and positivity that will carry you forward, making each step toward your goals more enjoyable and fulfilling. Embrace the power of positive accountability and let it remind you that you're never alone on your path to growth. Chapter 10. Living the Path. Embracing growth as a lifestyle. Reaching the end of a journey brings a sense of accomplishment. But when it comes to personal growth, there's no true finish line. The path of growth isn't a destination, it's a way of life, a continuous process that evolves as we do. In this final chapter, we'll explore how to embrace growth as an ongoing part of your daily experience so that each step you take, big or small, becomes part of a lifelong journey toward becoming your best self. By living the path of growth, you're creating a life where positive change is always within reach. Living the path means letting go of perfection and embracing progress. In the early stages of building new habits, it's easy to focus on achieving specific outcomes or reaching defined goals. But as we continue to grow, we begin to see that the journey itself is what truly matters. Imagine someone who set out to improve their health by exercising and eating well. At first, they might have been focused on reaching a target weight or completing a fitness challenge. But over time, they start to enjoy the energy, confidence, and joy that come from taking care of themselves. Instead of viewing health as a goal with an endpoint, they start seeing it as a lifelong commitment, one that brings ongoing fulfillment and well-being. By embracing the path, they're no longer bound to specific outcomes. They're creating a lifestyle that supports their values and goals. Embracing growth as a lifestyle also means being open to change and willing to adapt as life evolves. Our goals, values, and needs can shift over time, and living the path allows us to flow with these changes rather than resisting them. For example, someone who once focused heavily on career goals might reach a point where personal relationships or self-care become more important. Instead of feeling conflicted about this shift, they can adapt their habits and routines to reflect their new priorities. By staying flexible, they're able to honor their current values while continuing to grow. Living the path means that our routines and habits are not fixed. They're adaptable, allowing us to grow in ways that reflect who we are at each stage of life. One of the hallmarks of living the path is a commitment to learning. Growth-minded people see every experience, whether it's a success, setback, or challenge, as an opportunity to learn something new. Let's say someone is working on a project at work that doesn't go as planned. Instead of feeling defeated, they approach the situation with curiosity, asking what they could learn from the experience. Perhaps they realize the importance of time management or effective communication. By seeing each experience as a lesson, they're able to grow and improve, regardless of the outcome. Living the path encourages us to view life as a series of learning experiences, each one contributing to our growth and understanding. Another important aspect of embracing growth as a lifestyle is celebrating small wins. When we make personal growth a daily practice, we're no longer waiting for major milestones to feel a sense of accomplishment. Instead, we find joy in each step forward, no matter how small. Take, for example, someone who is learning to play an instrument. If they only celebrate once they master a piece, they might become discouraged by the slow pace of progress. But by celebrating each new skill, each improvement in technique, they remain motivated and find satisfaction in the journey itself. Recognizing these small wins keeps us engaged and inspired, reminding us that growth is happening every day. Living the path of growth also means cultivating self-compassion. In any journey, there will be times when we fall short of our intentions or encounter setbacks. Self-compassion allows us to approach these moments with kindness and understanding, rather than judgment. Imagine someone who's been working on building a daily meditation habit, but misses a few days due to a busy schedule. Instead of feeling disappointed, they acknowledge the challenge, forgive themselves, and return to their practice. This compassionate approach keeps them from getting discouraged, allowing them to stay connected to their path. Self-compassion is essential to living the path because it encourages resilience, helping us continue moving forward with a positive mindset. Community can also play a meaningful role in embracing growth as a lifestyle. Sharing our journey with others creates a sense of connection, encouragement, and shared purpose. Whether it's a group of friends, a mentor, or an online community, surrounding ourselves with people who support our goals can make the path feel richer and more enjoyable. For instance, someone who's passionate about personal development might join a group where members share resources, celebrate each other's successes, and offer support during tough times. This sense of community makes growth feel less like a solo pursuit and more like a shared adventure, where each person's journey contributes to the collective inspiration. To make growth a sustainable part of daily life, it's helpful to practice regular reflection. Reflection gives us the chance to look back on our progress, celebrate what we've accomplished, and set intentions for the future. For example, at the end of each week, you might take a few minutes to journal about what you learned, any challenges you faced, and what you're grateful for. This practice keeps you connected to your path, allowing you to see how far you've come, and helping you stay focused on where you want to go. Reflection also deepens our sense of purpose, reminding us that each step, no matter how small, contributes to the bigger picture of growth. As you embrace the path of growth, remember that it's not about reaching a final destination. Living the path means being open to change, welcoming new opportunities, and staying committed to becoming the best version of yourself. It's about finding fulfillment in each moment, knowing that you're constantly evolving and creating a life that reflects your deepest values and aspirations. With each step forward, you're building a life of purpose, resilience, and joy, one habit at a time. To put this concept into practice, take a moment to reflect on your journey so far. Ask yourself, how can I continue to embrace growth as a lifestyle, finding joy in each step along the way? Consider one small way you can stay connected to your path. Whether it's through regular reflection, setting new intentions, or sharing your journey with others. Remember, the path of growth is a lifelong adventure, one that's shaped by each choice, each habit, and each moment of learning. Embrace it fully, and let it guide you toward a life that feels truly meaningful and fulfilling. Conclusion: as we come to the close of this journey, remember that building lasting growth is about more than just setting goals. It's about creating meaningful habits, staying consistent, and approaching each day with intention and curiosity. From starting small and embracing a growth mindset to finding motivation through positive accountability, each chapter in this book has offered tools to help you make steady, fulfilling progress. Personal growth isn't a destination, it's a path, one that evolves with you as you learn, adapt, and celebrate each step forward. Thank you for taking the time to join us on this journey to a life of purpose and empowerment. If you enjoyed this content, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more insights and inspiration. Your support helps us bring more positive, empowering content to viewers just like you. We look forward to growing alongside you.